You're listening to KSCO, serving Santa Cruz, Pebble Beach, and Penoche.
The little goose is dead. The bats have left the bell tower. The victims have...
That's very nice music. Thank you there, Mr. Dave Michaels. In the studio with me this morning, we have Scgh Hawk, who is a volunteer with the Evergreen Cemetery here in Santa Cruz. Good morning.
Good morning, Rosemary.
Nice to have you here. And Marianne Porter, revisiting from Santa Cruz Ghost Hunters. Good morning.
Good morning.
Got a nice, fun event that is coming up. Of course, Halloween is probably, Santa Cruz being Santa Cruz, is really going to get underway this weekend because there'll be a lot of events. I know that schools and things like that will start it off because Halloween falls on a Wednesday this year. So for a lot of kids, the events start off. And you guys are having an event which is sponsored by the Museum of Art and History here in Santa Cruz.
Yes, indeed. They are holding the annual Spooky Tales event at Evergreen Cemetery.
Good place to have a Spooky Tales there, don't you think, Scgh?
Oh, yes. We have some very special guests this year. It's going to be unlike any other Spooky Tales event we've had there this year. We're kind of honoring an old event that happened in the 1990s, where it was actually a paid event where people went and saw performances at certain historic sites. So we will be having reenactors from Roaring Camp play specific parts, and your family can visit these stations and do a small activity, learn a little bit about the history of that particular plot and its relationship to Santa Cruz, get a treat, stamp a scare pass, and go into the haunted book nook located inside Marianne's hearse.
Oh, lovely. A book nook in the hearse.
Indeed. It's been a lot of things, but a book nook is an unusual one.
It's a fun thing. And are you going to be doing some storytelling? Is there storytelling going on?
We will be sharing stories of investigations, hauntings here in Santa Cruz, and we'd like to hear people's stories as well. We'd love to have everyone share. There will also be the Bigfoot Discovery Museum is coming, and they will be...
Love those
people.
They are great. So much fun.
They'll be sharing displays and some of their experiences, casts and whatnot. We will also be having Jay Alvarez, a Spanish guitarist, he will be on acoustical guitar.
Yes, and it will really set the mood as being very haunted because there is a lot of romance and tragedy at Evergreen, and the people who are buried there, in some very mysterious circumstances. There will be a separate pamphlet with a small tour that for the parents, in case they get a little antsy, they can tour along with some very interesting stories about some unsolved cases and people who were buried quickly and things like that nature. Of course, Evergreen's known for its own very famous ghost, the ghost of Arana Gulch. And he is buried there, and there will be a station where you can find out some of the new things we've found out about this particular ghost.
How long have you been volunteering at Evergreen Cemetery?
I just started about a year and a half ago.
And what made you want to... It's not... I mean, people go volunteer at hospice, or they go volunteer with CASA, or Grind Out Hunger, or the food bank. But you went to a cemetery. What made you do that, Scgh?
Well, I've tried all those other things that you have mentioned, and I was actually drawn to Evergreen Cemetery due to the history of my property. Doing some research on my own property, I found out that it was part of the Rodriguez land grant. So I also discovered that the Ghost of Arana Gulch story was attached to that particular piece of property. And my neighborhood was very haunted by this particular apparition. So when I started researching him, it led me to Evergreen Cemetery, since the victim who became the ghost is buried there. So after that, I decided that I really liked the place, but it also needed help. It needed a lot of loving care, and there was a group there that run by Sibley Simon with the Museum of Art and History, who had this regenerated and renewed ambition to clean it up and keep it clean. And we've been doing that every Monday from 9 to 1 since.
And for those that don't know, where is the Evergreen Cemetery?
It's right before you get to Harvey West Park. So if you're on your way to Ksco and you turn up Coral Street and you make that little curve, you'll see it. It's a beautiful white gate that says Evergreen Cemetery. It's on the left with the soccer fields on the right. And we've been there for 150 years. Actually, it was started in 1850.
Nice. Now, Santa Cruz ghost hunters, have you been actively hunting? And where have you been, Marianne? And what have you been finding in your hunting?
Oh, goodness. We have been very busy. We have, this year alone, went to, once again, to the Tuttle Mansion in Watsonville off of East Lake, Dusty Treasures and Antiques. We were there last night and got some interesting EVP sessions.
And EVP is?
Electric Voice Phenomenon.
Okay, so you're actually testing for ghosts and actually for them being there.
Oh, most definitely. We run annual tours there, sometimes about 4 times a month. And
when you run a tour, Marianne, and you get a reading on the equipment that you have, do you ever get shivers down your spine?
Oh, most definitely. It depends what the responses we get. It could be a very awakening experience, so to speak. A lot of times you get cold chills through rooms. Last night we got an EVP session that was through a phone.
And a modern phone?
A cell phone. All of a sudden we were in one room and one of the girls' cell phones were in the other, 2 of them. And one phone started calling the other. At the end of the session, she goes to check her message and it said, that was my daughter, and nobody had called her, nobody from the room. It was really interesting EVP session. And that's really strange when you're getting phone calls from entities that can't be explained.
That is very interesting. So where else have you done tours as well this year?
We have done the Cody House in Ben Lomond. We have done.
And did you get anything there?
Well, we did get some activity. We've had our REM pods light up and K2 meters go off. So there's some kind of electrical energy going on over there.
A REM pod is really an amazing piece of equipment because it's like a huge antenna and it only goes off if something gets near it. So it's a pretty strong indicator there's something there.
You're obviously, and I'm not a skeptic, I'm totally into the ghost thing, I'm fine with it, whatever you want to call it, but you're obviously both into it too.
Oh, very much so.
It's her fault.
A lot of it's history-based too.
Yeah.
So we're both very interested in history.
Okay, so answer me this then. We had a very sad situation with the Brookdale Lodge, that the people that bought the Brookdale Lodge did a lot of things that were illegal, and as a result, the Brookdale Lodge is shuttered. But there has long been held, and some people have seen the fact that there is a young girl that died in that building, and that she comes back, and that is in the restaurant that has the stream that runs through it.
Exactly.
And that was a world famous hotel until this idiot ruined it, if you excuse me, but he did. So what happens? Do we know, or do you know as a ghost hunter, what happens to a spirit, therefore, that is left there with no one and nothing to see it? Because the Brookdale Lodge remains shuttered, and that little girl has been there, I believe it was in the 20s or 30s, if my memory serves me well, because that was a place where the mob went.
Correct.
They would come into town, and that was where they would go and stay. So what happens then to a spirit where there is no one to go see them?
Well, with the Brookdale Lodge, we believe it's more of a portal, that there are many spirits occupying the Brookdale Lodge. I'm actually doing research on it and have discovered a obituary of a Sarah Logan, age 10.
That's just the girl. Yes, that's right. That's the little girl.
And this obituary is dating back to 1892.
Oh, it's earlier than I thought. Okay.
Which is 2 years after Judge Logan had purchased the Brookdale Lodge, because he purchased it in 1890.
So it was his daughter?
We don't know for certain. It wasn't his daughter, I can say that much. The legend claims it was a niece.
Okay.
But further investigation is going to have to go into discovering the Sarah Logan story.
So when you say a portal, that is an area. I'll use that term because I don't have another term for it. But that is a place where spirits come and go.
Yes.
and they can move from one world into another.
It is believed that some can move freely. It is also believed some may be stuck. A lot of theories believe that there is something at the Brookdale Lodge that is holding entities there that is very negative. There's a lot of theories that are going on with the place, and now that it's shut down, there's very little opportunity to keep researching it and going in and investigating it.
Yeah, no, I know, because it's red tagged. Really a shame.
It is, and its future is uncertain because the banks are thinking of it would be better served as a parking lot. And I know the community would be outraged by that.
Why does Brookdale need a parking lot?
Exactly.
There are these stores there. The post office is across the street.
Exactly.
Oh, that would be very sad if that happened.
That would be, indeed.
Yeah. So therefore, what we've got is you want people to come out in costume. You want them to dress up on Saturday.
Yes, it's a free event. We're also having Aptos Academy of Performing Arts coming out, and they're going to have a
it's a little surprise.
Yeah,
This is going to be very, very different from the previous Spooky Tales that were hosted there. We're hoping that Marianne will be able to demonstrate her equipment. We have had, she's actually done an investigation at Evergreen in the evening. And we had some very interesting events that happened while she was there. We went to the Heath Crypt, a very large cement and lovely 1920s crypt on the property. And we did some EVP work and some sessions, a flashlight session. Can you explain the flashlight session?
We like to use 2 flashlights, your standard little mini mags. And the theory behind that is an entity can communicate through yes or no questions. And we've been rather successful with them. Me personally, I like to see more than one piece of equipment going off at a time before you can make a conclusion.
Yes.
But it seems to be a very easy way for an energy to make its presence known. And this has been going on since Ghost Hunters television series. I mean, it's a common practice.
Good. Well, there's lots of excitement, ladies and gentlemen, and best of all, it is free. It is from 1 to 2. It is this Saturday. It's a family-friendly, spooky event at the Evergreen Cemetery. So Sanjay Hawk from the cemetery, Mary M. Porter from Santa Cruz Ghost Hunters, thank you so much, and great success with this wonderful event.
Well, thank you.
Nice to see you both. Thank you very much.
The little goose is dead, the bats have left the bell tower.